Hi, good evening. I'm Terry Yoffe, and welcome to Coach World TV. Tonight, as my guest and my friend, I have Cheryl Darmanin, and Cheryl is an entrepreneur who is in real estate, amongst many other things. And prior to becoming a real estate person, she was managing director of account management of North America at Yahoo. Welcome, Cheryl.
Thank you very much for having me.
This is fabulous. I'm so excited to have you. So, Cheryl, tell us a little bit about what prompted you to make the transition from corporate to your own entrepreneur.
Well, you know, I had worked in the media business for about 18 years. I spent a lot of time traveling, and I had a great career. I worked not only at Yahoo, but at several other big media companies like ABC News and USA Today, and the Weather Channel, which is where I started my career. And it was wonderful for me, but I really had the desire to control my own destiny, both financially and time-wise. So I decided to embark on an entrepreneurial endeavor, which had been in the works for a couple of years. I had been wanting to do it, and I was fortunate enough to be in a position where I was able to move forward a year ahead of my planned time. So, and it's been great. It's a huge learning experience for me, and it's really given me a lot of energy and excitement about my career again.
Well, you know, it feels like a lot of people today are making the transition from corporate world to being an entrepreneur. And having done that myself, and now you're having done that, what can you say? There is a totally different mindset about that leap. And we were talking about it at dinner. So tell us a little bit about what happened to you with that mindset from being in the corporate world, what it took to being in your own business and doing your own discipline, and you're like a one-man show.
Right, exactly. And that's the biggest challenge, I think, is that you are a one-man show. You know, I went from having a staff to me being the staff, and
right.
you know, it's been a challenge. It's been exciting for me because you know, I've learned how to do things because I did start a new type of business. I didn't
Sure.
Stay in the media business like I was before. So you know, I think you really have to be disciplined. You know, because what will happen is you'll either spend 15 hours a day working 7 days a week, or you won't work enough to get your business off the ground. And so I think it's really important that you make sure that you set boundaries, both personal and professional boundaries, so that you work a certain number of hours, just like you would when you're in the corporate world. And then also make friends with, you know, as many people as you can that can help you learn the business that you're in. That's been key for me, is, you know, to rely on other people to help me learn about my new business.
Yeah, it is. You know, I was in advertising sales, we were talking about, for a long time, and then I started my own rep company, and then I moved into becoming a coach. And there is a different mindset that goes into that. When you work in the corporate world, you certainly have a team there, you certainly have a lot going for you, and then I found when I went into my own business, I was it. You know, I was the chief cook and bottle washer.
That's very true.
in some respect. You know, I don't have anybody to say, okay, go do this for me, or go do that for me. And it's also about disciplining your time. You know, if you go to an office is one thing, but if you have a home office, you have to make sure that you're going to go to the home office, and while you're there, you're going to work, and not say, oops, I'm going to get up and do the laundry, I got to go do this, or you can have so many distractions. So what did you find any of that happening to you when you started?
You know, initially I did, and you know, I found it hard to manage my time, actually, because I was having to do everything, you know, all the paperwork and administrative pieces, as well as getting out and marketing myself, networking, and you know, the hardest thing I think I had to adjust to is just that I was, you know, the everything, you know, the chief, the
go-to
cook, the go-to person. I'm the secretary, I'm the HR manager, you know, I'm the operations person, I'm the IT person. So that's been, I think that's been my biggest challenge, is to really prioritize and make sure that I am spending my time on things that are very valuable to help build my business.
Right.
And also too, I think networking is incredibly important. If you,
Yeah.
especially if you have a home office, you know, if you're in your home and you're not, you know, you need to get out and be with other people within your business so that you can network, learn, you know, and just have some camaraderie with people that are doing, you know, similar things that you are doing.
Yeah, that is very, very important. And so how, I know what I've done. I belong to lots of organizations, and I am always out there being visible and networking as well. And then I'm home in my home office doing what I need to do for work. But what has your experience been in the home networking? You know, you went from a corporate world to doing some real estate, which is, you know, like I did, very 180-degree turn in what you knew and did. So how do you get out and interview and network? Do you have any groups that you work with, or, you know?
I do. You know, and first of all, I will say that I try and network in, you know, with every interaction that I have with people. And that doesn't mean that I go out and I'm trying to sell them on something as soon as I meet them. But, you know, I do, you know, talk about my business because they want to talk about theirs. And so we have a, you know, a conversation about each of our businesses, which definitely helps. I've also, I've kept a lot of the connections with some of the industry organizations that I was affiliated with while I was in the media business. In New York. So Advertising Women of New York is one that I'm still affiliated with. And then in, you know, out in New Jersey, since I don't come to the city every single day, I work with an organization called BIG, which is Big, Inspire, and Grow. And it's an organization for women entrepreneurs. And it's a way for us to you know, get to know each other and each other's businesses, as well as get business advice, sometimes free, sometimes not, sometimes a minimal fee. But I do a lot with that, as well as several philanthropic organizations, a lot of the Chamber of Commerce organizations within the communities where I work. That has also been incredibly helpful. And one of the best things that I've done recently is, in the town that I live in, there is an economic development committee that actually is responsible for bringing new business into the community to enhance the town. And so I'm involved. It's a volunteer organization. I'm on that committee. And we do some really interesting things. Like we have something coming up where we're doing an incubator program, which is free to, you know, our town and the surrounding areas, to teach people who may have home businesses how to build that business and bring it out into you know, retail space or out in the community and away from the home, so that they can build on the success that they've already had. So those are some things that I have found really interesting and helpful to me in my business.
Wow, that's, yeah. It takes a lot, you know, we take a lot for granted when we work in a company. All of that is provided. You know, we go to the networking events because they're part of what we do in a company. And as I said, we have everything there. But once you get into your own area, you have to really be very creative. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, it's a big leap. I think more and more people, and you know, you certainly were in the corporate world. I left the corporate world in '97, but a lot more people are moving towards entrepreneurial type endeavors because they either can't find jobs in the corporate world, or what they're finding isn't what they want, and they're trying to make that leap into entrepreneur. And there's really a lot that people don't know, and I think they get kind of fouled up when they start a business and they look and they go, oh my goodness, where do I go from here, or what do I do, or how do I do it? So I think it takes a certain person to become an entrepreneur, and it's really, maybe I shouldn't say this, not for everybody. You have to have the right frame of mind and the right type of personality. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I definitely think it takes a certain personality. It is, you know, it's hard to leave the comfort zone of getting a paycheck every 2 weeks.
That's true.
but it's so rewarding to be able to determine what your salary is going to be to some degree. You know, you have to expect and plan for the ebbs and flows of you know, income coming in, and I think for a lot of people the financial part of it is the most challenging.
It is.
So I planned ahead for that, knowing that my I may not have income coming on a regular basis initially, but you know, that's not an easy thing to do, and you know, but nowadays I think you have to, and I think one of the reasons why people are moving or wanting to move from the corporate world to a more entrepreneurial business is because they want the flexibility. They want to be able to, you know, get to their son's baseball game or their daughter's dance performance or whatever the case may be, and they, you know, want to spend more time with their family and be able to work when they need to work or when they want to work versus, you know, from 8 to 5.
Exactly.
So, you know, and if that, I think you have to prioritize, and if those are the things that you want and you have a strong desire and you have a good business plan and you have people around you that you learn from, you know, I think that you set yourself up for success. I mean, setting your structure up is very, very important, because, you know, if you don't have the structure set up initially, when you do start to get very busy, things fall through the cracks. You're not providing the level of customer service that you might have wanted to. You're not able to capitalize on opportunities that come your way, and so you need to have that structure set up. And I think you know, it's really important for people to give themselves the time, whatever time that, if it's, you know, 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, you know, to get that structure in place so that you are, you know, ready to hit the ground running when the business starts to come in.
Yeah, that is. There are a lot of pros, as Cheryl just talked about, that you can design and craft your own time frame. You know, and it's not a requirement that you're there at 8 o'clock in the morning and that you have to work until 5. You know, I'll work on weekends, or I'll go away for a long weekend, but I can be working while I'm away, or I can, if I want to get up at noon, which I don't, and work until midnight. I have that flexibility. So, you know, and then it's of course about getting the business up and running, and what's your game plan, and not all businesses succeed in today's world.
That's very true.
And then what happens when, you know, you do a game plan based on this, and then this doesn't happen, so you've got to either revise your game plan or figure something else out.
Yeah, it's true. You know, I think that I think you also don't need to be afraid of failure. You know, when people start their business, and me included, you know, all of the people that I knew in my previous business life, you know, were, you know, saying, "Wow, you know, good luck. We hope you're successful." And you know, the last thing you want to do is say, "Oh, you know, this didn't work," or, you know, I failed in some way. But the truth is, you know, you really learn from failure, and so, you know, I think you have to allow yourself to be able to do that, so that you can learn from what happened, and move on and change it for the next time.
That's so true. Just picking up on that a little bit, we call it, there's no such thing as failure, there's only feedback.
Right, exactly.
So, and when I actually left the corporate world to start my first business, the one thing I said was, okay, I could fail. That you go to the worst case scenario and you say, okay, I could fail. And so what? Then I would do something else. And I think that, to your point of, when you start a business, yes, people wish you good luck and good for you, and I get people saying, "My God, I'm so jealous."
I get
you know,
that
you
too,
went
right?
and did something new while they're stuck doing the same old thing, and sometimes it doesn't work out. And I think it's such a kudos to the person to at least have even started and said, "This is what I want to do." That they took the initiative, that they got off of their comfort zone, and they went into what we call challenging times, or their, you know, not their comfort zone, but the turbulent waters, to figure out what they wanted to do. And especially today, it's not so easy to start up a business.